Dad, how did we get this runaway unemployment? How did we get to this view that the government can centrally plan the economy and get us out of it?
Judge, it started a long time ago with the First World War, believe it or not, when all the economists, all the central bankers decided that they could manage money, they could manage a paper-based currency better than the gold standard, which had piloted the Industrial Revolution for 200 years. Then, of course, Nixon suspended convertibility in 1971, and we are 100% on a paper credit-backed currency and floating exchange rates aside.
When you say suspended convertibility, you mean that when we had in our wallets dollars that said they were convertible into gold, you could literally go to the gold window at the Treasury Department and they would give you the value of your dollars in gold, and the president shut that window and told them to stop doing that.
That's precisely the case, except that Roosevelt shut the gold window for American citizens.
Right.
Foreigners were able to get gold, and even up until Nixon's termination of convertibility of the dollar to gold, were able to get gold. But American citizens were prohibited from getting gold until about 1976, and we have Senator Jesse Helms to thank for that change.
How would things be different today if we still had the dollar backed by gold? Would this instill some sort of discipline on the government that would prevent it from doing these crazy things that it does?
Well, the true gold standard, without reserve currencies, that is to say without the dollar, the euro, the pound sterling substituting for gold, the true gold standard would have prohibited inflation. The fact that the dollar today is worth about 10 cents of what the dollar was worth in 1971 when Nixon ended convertibility to gold, that would not have happened. What happens under the gold standard, the true gold standard, the classical gold standard, is that the purchasing power of the dollar or any currency convertible to gold is stable over the very, very long run.
And so if you have money in the bank, you don't lose. You don't have to worry about inflation because Uncle Ben and the Federal Reserve can't just keep printing cash because there's no gold to back up the cash.
Especially if you are a middle-income person, you're on fixed wages, fixed salaries, and if you are on fixed income as a retiree or someone who's disabled, then you can count on the purchasing power in the future.
There was a time when the conversation that you and I are having was considered fringe, out of the mainstream.
Yeah, right.
Now it is mainstream political conversation for Republicans, for Democrats, for liberals, for conservatives, for progressives, for libertarians, to talk about the desirability of gold. How did that happen?
The sea change occurs in a man, a woman's heart when they completely lose the value of their retirement. All their lives they've saved, let's say since 1971, and they put the money aside, and they get to retirement age, or they have to send their children to college, and they find out the purchasing power of their savings has fallen 50, 60, 70, 80%, and they simply can't do it. Now that's the political change, and then it requires a certain amount of energy on the part of those who wish to present the gold standard as it really is.
I ask you this every time we're here. Last question, last answer. Will you and I live to see the gold standard back in America?
We certainly will. We're going to live a long time, but it's going to happen in a very short period.
Lou Lehrman, it's a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Judge.
It's an all-out assault on your Second Amendment rights. Find out why you won't be able to conceal and carry if you visit the Big Apple, a very dangerous place. Freedom Files are next.